What's going on, guys? Good to see you all once again. Hopefully you're all having a wonderful Friday thus far. Hopefully we're about to make that Friday even better. But guys, thank you so much for showing up early. Let's go ahead and send it back to you first for that usual mic check. Guys and girls in the audience, if you can hear us right now, please let us know with some thumbs ups. Let us know with some hearts or with some kind of indication that the audio is in fact reaching you right now. Jordan, brother, I appreciate you. I think we're good in the audience as well. Thank you. Thank you, Vitalik. All right, guys, mic check is complete, but kindly give us just a few more minutes here just to get everything set up on the panel. But in the meantime, you guys know what to do. Please go to the top of the Jumbotron, give us a like, comment, and retweet on today's space, and we will be starting the show in just a few more minutes. Let's go.
Again, crazy how time flies when I wonder if the path is in the right direction. But I do believe things come to life by accident when you remain on. Sounds like it's meant to be.
Wake up, the things made when things fall apart. Read up, what matters at the end is how you left the mark. Read up, fire in my soul, fire in my heart. Till you see on the other side of thought.
Oh, the journey somewhere where we never step. No one's going like the heavy morning breath. Cause maybe something up, so it will be somewhere.
Get off the go, get it go.
Sometimes the journey is about the chance. Out of powers and seems to not override. No matter how far, how you go, hold on to this
When there's a beginning, there's an ending too. As we go away, our curse many pretty emotions. Feel like lies beneath colors of love that's excellent. The pictures fade away, but it will remain the same.
Stop living there when your heart beats still. No fool, I'm never gonna chill. Never low pace, riding like a trail. I pass by the rules but outshine.
all we done was ever money to the seas. On the way we may see the sweet keys. Standing by for research, shouting is despair.
Get off the go, get it go.
Only bones are high for reaching to the sky. I'm sitting down because we're in the finish on the right. As you go, believing the faith and yourself.
Trust is the next reflect hope and fear. Be brave when not entertainment when not just dead. This football song, which may be hard sometimes of love. Meanings are the first search for.
Question, no answers will this be from nothing. I felt so somewhat less than nervous because I won't be so broken unless I conduct it diligently, patiently, and trusting myself. Nothing was given to me, so gotta go earn it. Everything needs another motivation. I burn it. Reputation doesn't stop. That thought is top flight. Accept an open mind for life.
One beat is quiet, voices will be heard. Loud and clear, the story of the one with me.
Hands up.
Treat the keys, realize what we left behind.
Nothing needs to get off the go, Let it go.
Explore with me the limits of the time. No one should need it for me to way of life. No matter how far,
No matter how far,
how you go, how long is the length? This your life, burning your faith.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to AITV, the Autonomous Media Network, where agents go live. My name is Ice, and I'll be your host for today's show. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as if time didn't already move fast enough here in Web3, here comes a new challenger to speed things up even more. That's right. I am talking about artificial intelligence. However, not all AI tools are built equal. I'm sure some of you here have had an extraordinary amount of time and experience trying out new AI tools as they roll out. And gun to my head, some of them were great, while others are just god awful. And today, we're going to be holding nothing back as we dish out all the tea in identifying which AI tools were just smokes and mirrors, and which ones actually work. Let's talk about this. But first, let me check in with my co-host, builder, and co-founder of AITV. What's going on, Jordan? How are you doing, brother?
What's up? How's it going, Ice? How's it going, everyone to the that has joined the panel? PublicAI, Vitalik, thanks so much for coming. Happy Friday. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting one. The sun is out, beautiful blue skies. I'm not sure if it's like that where you are, but if not, I hope you can imagine it in your mind. Yeah, happy Friday. Let's go.
Thank you, Jordan. I will, as they say, I will huff and puff and blow these gray clouds away, or at least I would aspire to do so. But before we actually check in with our panelists, Jordan, can you kind of run us through the latest updates going on in AITV? Because I'm browsing through the TL right now. I'm on the page. There's been a lot of live streams going on, new agents, new partnerships. Annie is cooking up a storm. Do you want to talk us through the latest, brother?
Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun. This is a really fun product to build because not only is it something that we're excited about releasing into the market, but we're also just equally excited about using it ourselves. So as an example of this, our creative director, Annie, she launched her own channel with her own character and she's been using that and having some fun with that. She's also out there doing collaborations with, streamers and creators like Ira, for example. They have a, weekly series called, Hot Girls Vibe Design, where they're, vibe designing the channel for Ira. In addition to that, the tech team has been cooking nonstop. So, for example, we recently released into early access into the studio, being able to generate everything from your first prompt. So it's truly getting to the point of prompt to AI streamer. You just type in what you want to see, and then our system will generate, the background for you, the avatar, the personality, the voice, all of that stuff. And so it's been a really cool experience seeing people, get really excited about making new things. And then actually one of the other things I'm working on right now is video backgrounds. So from that first prompt, generating a video background that animates, so the whole thing feels more alive. And then finally, one of the last really big pieces of alpha, which is exciting, is we're making it such that you can bring your own agent. So this is going to be an update that we're going to be releasing in the near future. It's actively, being worked on and tested, but you'll be able to bring your own agent to AITV. So this is really great for example, the OpenClaw community. So if you have an OpenClaw, you're running it locally, soon it'll be able to have its own live streaming channel on AITV. And so that's a really exciting update as well.
Wait, so essentially we can build our own agents like on the outside. So whether it's OpenClaw or other kind of tools we're using, and then we can essentially port our existing agents into AITV. So all the stuff, the prompts that we've discussed, it essentially has its own memory, but we're manifesting a visual version of it. Is that kind of how it works, Jordan?
Yeah, it's as simple as telling your OpenClaw, hey, look up AITV.gg and check out the skill file and launch your own channel. And so, your agent's running locally, it's connecting to our API, and it'll be able to have its own, personality on screen, doing whatever it is that your OpenClaw is doing. Also a big piece of this is screencasting. So be able to broadcast your screen on AITV, having an avatar talk about it. So maybe your OpenClaw is busy, 3D modeling or making a new website, and it can be talking about it to the audience at the same time.
Jordan, man, that is some incredible innovation you guys are rolling out. And by the way, if you guys want to see how all of this stuff works, don't you worry. I know a visual is a lot better than Jordan and I kind of talking about it. But if you guys do want to see it, then you better set those notifications for next week, because we have something special coming your way. All right. We'll tease a little bit more information about that in a couple of minutes from now. But in the meantime, let me go ahead and check in with the lovely panelists that we've invited for today's show. Starting off first with our friend joining us from Boosty Labs. What's up, Vitalik? How are you doing, man?
Hey, thank you for inviting me here. I'm doing very good. I'm glad to be here. I like to speak a lot about AI. Just spoke 2 days ago and weeks about how AI changed development. So I'm happy to be here and tell more what we're doing in Boosty Labs with AI, because very small insight, we was the second company who adopted LLM in development, because we was the second client of Rapid, who was the first on the market for the LLM development, and we tried it on the beta, and I will tell more about the adoption of the AI in development.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining us, Vitalik. And before we get started, let me go ahead and check in with the rep coming in from PublicAI. Is that PublicAI Jordan representing, or is that Jason behind the house account today?
Hey, you got Jordan number 2 on the stream. Thanks for having us on. If anybody's not familiar with PublicAI, what we're doing is the human layer of AI, making sure that as the nature of work changes and shifts, that there's still a place for people in that. And what that tangibly looks like is we've got tasks on our platform, and people can come and get paid for uploading data, for example, coming with their voice, their native tongue, their niche dialect, things like that. Get paid for that. We're also exploring egocentric data as our next modality of data that we'll be collecting. And then the way it works is everybody gets paid out in our token. And then all the revenue that comes in from clients is used for buybacks, and we've executed over $250,000 in buybacks to date. So really excited to have this flywheel going and to give people an opportunity to own a piece of infrastructure as AI changes all kinds of work. We've seen deals happening where data companies are changing hands for billions of dollars. Public is your opportunity to hop in and own a piece of data infrastructure and also be a contributor. So owners of the platform is the mission and vision. And yeah, it's been a real pleasure working with AITV on getting our streamer up and spreading the good word about decentralized AI. We've got her going every day. And yeah, excited to get into what other things are working for us as far as AI tools go, and where we've seen a few pitfalls and things that fall short. So thanks for having us on.
Hell yeah, man. Jordan and Jordan working together. Surely this will not be confusing for anyone. I'm just kidding. I'll do my best. I'll do my usual thing. I'll make sure to say the project name before I lead with with your names to make it easy for everyone to tell, and to make it easier for you guys to know who I'm talking to. But guys, this is incredible. We have so many AI aficionados here on stage. Why don't we get this conversation underway? And we'll do things a little bit different. Typically we bring out the positive. We want to illustrate what works. Today, we're going to play a little bit of a devil's advocate, all right? We're going to do it backwards. We're going to start on the opposite end of the spectrum, try to identify some tools that actually didn't perform up to par, and then we will dig into what are the things that work and the advice that you guys have to give for our audience members. But to open up the conversation, gentlemen, what are some AI tools that have been heavily marketed but turned out to be a complete disappointment for you? So please, take a moment. Think about what you want to say, and whenever you guys are ready to join in on the conversation, kindly use the bottom right-hand panel to raise your hands like so. And as per usual, if you guys have something to add in direct response, or perhaps to even rebuttal what a previous speaker has just said, then keep those hands raised for me, guys. But also hit me up with one of these waving hand emotes right over here, and I'll be more than happy to skip the line and send you the mic ASAP. And for the rest of our audience members, please go back to the top of the Jumbotron. Give us a like, comment, and retweet on today's space as I hand the mic over to PublicAI Jordan to kick things off. Take it away, man.
Hey, yeah. One of the things, especially in the context of like streamers and what we're doing with AITV, that has been difficult is all of the media that comes after the stream, clipping and things like that. And we've tried a few different options out, like Opus Clip and things like that, but none of them really nail the kind of the vibe that can create viral content from a stream or long form content. So that's one of the things that we've seen really struggling. Like in general, AI has been great for marketing and making that more efficient, but clipping in particular, when you look at it, is very detailed art, and there's a lot that goes into it, and still haven't seen anybody nail the like making awesome clips software yet. So maybe somebody else on the show will have better tips on that, know where we can fill in those gaps, but that's one place where we've really seen it struggle. Another thing that we've kind of struggled with is the like team collaboration. We do a lot of like market research, different things like that, and then everybody's got their own agents going, and then bringing it all into one place or space. So like a shared workspace for multiple agents is another thing where we're still like figuring out the best place to do that, and have kind of landed on Notion as a common ground to point everything at once we've got knowledge captured and research to review together. But that's another thing where it's like there's multi-agent systems, but then what's your multi-agent system for your multi-agent systems is another one where we're still doing research and trying to find something that actually works. So I'll leave it with those two thoughts, and then yeah, let's get into it.
Hell yeah, Jordan. What a way to start things off, man. Right before I check in with Vitalik though, I kind of want to talk about Opus Clips because, from personal experience, and you can either, battle me on this or maybe you can, back me up on this, Jordan, depending on your personal experience. But I've always felt Opus Clips, it's kind of a hit or miss for me. I feel like Opus Clips, it's great for clipping conversations, right? Like if you have a podcast with a friend, it's gonna take those conversations and it might be able to sift out really cool moments, but it's not exactly the greatest when it comes down to explaining blockchain technology, like Web3 vernacular or even gaming content. I find Opus Clips usually misses the mark with that. And I feel like the reason for it is because Opus, I think, prioritizes emotional outbursts and dopamine hitting moments. It doesn't actually look into the content of what is being said. I don't know. Like, do you feel the same way about this, Jordan? Or like, am I missing something here with Opus?
No, absolutely. And I think you nailed the use case. I think that that's what they're really targeting from the start was the podcasts and things like that, being able to get the sound bites out. And it does okay at that. But it certainly doesn't bring, content forward that I would feel proud to put on social media as like something that really has the layered intensity that appeals to the TikTok scrolling, like ADD, zero attention span, audience that you need to be successful. So it feels like it came from an era that is a little bit older, even though it's a contemporary technology. It's still targeting media creation that isn't quite up to speed with the times.
Absolutely agree with you, man. And one extra thing I'll add before we send it to Vitalik is, I did notice over the past, like I want to say maybe a year, that's when I noticed, a lot of YouTubers really started to advertise and take sponsorship deals from Opus. And I will say originally when it started out, it was even worse than we see now, Jordan. But at least now what I'm thinking is happening is that because Opus Clips was so bad in 2025, it actually produced a bunch of like let's just call it AI slop. And what happened was editors on Fiverr took that to heart. They felt very offended because this is the new status quo and they weren't having any of that. So that actually in turn trained a lot of the editors on Fiverr to do better. And then I guess now they're taking that data and retraining Opus Clips and other AI models. So the ebb and flow, the back and forth, it's, the struggle is real, but it is also very interesting to see if we can actually use this sense of urgency to push out an app that can rival human editors. But yeah, this is great discussion so far. Vitalik, man, you got your hand up. Let's go ahead and send the mic your way. What you got for us?
Yeah, I want to totally agree about like the agentic orchestration systems. Like we have solutions like Zapier, and A10, but still it's provides the possibility to connect the linked workflows. But there, if you want to orchestrate a lot of agents from one platform, you need to do a lot of custom development. Like we build for our clients it a lot of time, and it's usually takes like at least 1-2 months to connect everything between themselves to orchestrate it from the one chat, from one LLM or from one agent. And it's really big pain. And I hope that in the close future, we will see the solutions who will provide for us such capabilities with some no-code builders or something like that for the better access for the community. Like I'm sure like agent-to-agent systems really helps to develop this infrastructure. But I can say that my biggest disappointment was the early stage website builders, because it's like very simple task which we have to solve. And it's like, from my perspective, if you want to build your own one pager or own business, very easy website, it must be accessible and really good. But the big hype had Builder AI. They did very huge marketing. They told everybody that they have millions of sales. When people started to use it, they spent like much more money that currently they would spend for the open cloud or for the cloud etc. But still, when they deliver the website, it wasn't optimized for the SEO. But if you build solution for the businesses to build their ecosystems, like for me, it's a very stupid thing which provider could generate. Because of that, like now I can say that there's a lot of others good solutions, especially like Rapid. They built maybe first who focus to kill Wix, and like Pixels Q I highly recommend. But really, I think it's like, from my perspective, the biggest fuck up. Also, they scam their investors with wrong income.
Oi, so the performance is not up to par. And did you say that they're actually charging more than OpenClaw right now?
Yes, they charging more than Cloud Code. And like 2 years ago, when Builder AI just ramped up to build the proper website, you had to spend like $500-600.
That's crazy, man. I wonder where they're getting this data from. Like you would think, you would think a company that is specializing in data scraping can find the competitor's pricing a little bit more effectively, but apparently not. Apparently that is not a thing that they're able to do. Duly noted. AITV Jordan, bro, talk to me, man. Are there any tools that you have used that was, in your opinion, heavily marketed but turned out to be a huge flop?
Yeah, I mean, like, originally it was the video generation models, but those have gotten so good. Like actually I'm just messing with one right now, and it's the, fast cheap model. And for, like a fraction of a penny, I'm able to get really good results. So I feel like the video generation models are currently exceeding expectations. And then additionally, right now, like I'm still waiting on, models that are being used for, the generation of 3D meshes, as well as rigging, texturing, and weight painting. So, everything you need to be able to create an animated 3D character. I still feel like that area, as far as the commercialized products, is lagging behind a little bit. And there's been a lot of hype around this, like it's extremely useful to be able to have this for, the games industry, for the film industry, anywhere in which you use, digital assets. Like it's very interesting and promising technology, but I think that all of the commercial platforms that are currently, promoting this are, to me, like falling a bit below what I would expect them to be at right now. So I totally understand there's like a lot of hard problems to solve there, but slowly but surely a lot of them are getting solved well. For example, like over the past couple months, there's been really good work done with like mesh segmentation, and so that solved a lot of problems. But yeah, so anyway, for us right now, that is the current thing that we're looking for a holy grail solution for, where it generates really high quality, humanoid-esque avatars.
If I can sprinkle on some extra sauce onto that, I think, like, based on what everyone has said, right? I know Jordan from PublicAI was talking about Opus earlier. Now you got me thinking, right? so video, like a video gen obviously can use some improvements, but imagine we had an AI resource that allows us to do all of the following: to clip, to generate B-roll. Imagine that, generative B-roll and clipping, and by integrating all the short form content meta transitions that TikTok and YouTube Shorts like to do. I think this tech would blow up on Twitter. Honestly, bro. I think this is something that almost everybody wants. And I think on the other side, like of the coin is the cost right now. You mentioned, there was a platform that you were using, for a few cents each. Which platform was this again, Jordan?
Yeah, I'm currently using FAL, F-A-L, FAL.ai.
FAL.ai, I gotcha. And it is it like relatively open source, or like what do we have to do to get access to this?
Yeah, so for their platform, they have some proprietary models. And so, trying out a few of those. Yeah, I don't believe that they're open source.
I gotcha. I'm gonna have to try this out. See how the B-roll it can produce. Cause, I'm looking for something that can produce high quality and like within context B-roll, right? Cause the worst is when you have generative B-roll that has nothing to do with the video that you're making. So I'm gonna look into that after today's show.
Yeah, and also just to be clear, FAL.ai, like currently I'm using it for image to video. So, just turning an image into an animated video. When it comes to doing video editing, yeah, I don't know if they actually support any, thing for that.
I gotcha. Well, hey man, generative B-roll is definitely a good start. But now at the halfway point, I do want to flip the conversation upside down. We talked about some of the tools that didn't work, fell short, but I also think by identifying where these tools kind of drop the ball, we can then paint a clearer picture on what future tools actually need to thrive. With that being said, let's go ahead and flip this conversation upside down now. And since Jordan from PublicAI led the conversation last time, let's actually let AITV Jordan lead this, and we'll go backwards. All right, if that makes any sense. But Jordan, man, let's go. Let's start this up from the top with you. What is one AI tool that you've used within the past month or years that has absolutely saved you time or money?
Yeah, so for me, I've been having a lot of fun creating new agents by letting the agent build itself. And so like this has allowed me to create really custom workflows for specific things. Like, for example, I made one to help me organize my calendar, something simple like that. But being able to no longer spend a lot of time organizing, let's say, flights or travel or meetings inside my calendar, and I can just talk with my little local agent and ask it to do things, like, hey, add this flight to my calendar and invite these people to it and make sure all the time zones are correct, right? Like, little things like that. Additionally, like for marketing, also, we're actively fundraising. And so made like little specific, agent workflows for those things without writing any lines of code. It's been really fun. I'm doing all this through Cursor right now. And so I'm, a big Cursor fanboy. And I think that being able to just like write a really clear spec of what you want the agent to be able to do and letting it kind of self-create itself is a really powerful thing. And so yeah, like that for me has been the most useful kind of addition to how I work with AI in the past a couple months.
This is fascinating. Right before we send it to Vitalik, when you talk about automated marketing, Jordan, do you know if this is applicable for Twitter? Because I know that recently you have to disclose a lot of things. You have to kind of mark down paid advertisements. So I'm just wondering, would automated marketing and Twitter disclosure work in tandem together?
Yeah, I'd like, I really like building workflows where I still have, a role to play in them. So, even for example, like my calendar agent, it asks me before it books anything, right? Like it'll draft up and I'll just review it quickly and be like, okay, this looks correct. And then it'll go and schedule it. But it still cuts out, minutes of my time. Additionally, for the marketing, for the fundraising, the agent is doing a lot of web research. It's, doing like copywriting, searching through like, related topics and things like that. And all that I have to do is basically review and then publish or send, So, sending outreach messages or, posting things to a timeline or, publishing an article or making tweaks to something. Like it's, like agents as the new interface for doing anything. So you're still a part of the mix, right? Like you're still driving it all, but, it's the agent who's kind of doing all the heavy work.
Yeah, this is some really cool stuff. I've wondered for such a long time, like, how would this kind of content actually perform on the TL, right? Because, it was relatively lax a couple of years ago. We didn't have to write anything. We just posted our post and that was it. But now automated AI content gets flagged or has a disclosure. There's a disclosure for marketing. There's a disclosure for sponsored content. So I'm really curious on how this will unfold over the next half a year or so. But PublicAI, Jordan, you got your hand up. Let's go ahead and send the mic over to you, man. Go for it.
Hey, yeah, one of the things that we found to be super useful in our flow as a company has been to be using the AI generation for prototypes. Vitalik touched on it earlier that, the even website builders and things like that have just been okay, and there's certain things they'll fail at, like SEO. But for being able to quickly communicate an idea for our, largely non-technical leadership team and product people and designers, to be able to just hand off something that gives an interactive idea of what it is instead of a 5 to 10 page PRD that details everything in human language, way more clearly communicates what we're after when we're doing communications between developers. And I think that kind of like translation between teams is something that has been invaluable and saved us tons of time. And then to touch briefly on the Twitter automation and things like that, I think we're kind of in the same place as AITV, Jordan, is, where we still have a human in the loop. Of course, we're bouncing things off of different models to, get the content out there, especially for like reply guy strategy, which can take up a lot of time if you could dedicate a single person to just doing that. But by doing the research where you have a list of people that you want to do your replies to, scrape that every day or every hour, depending on how frequently you want to do it, and get those suggestions for replies before sending them out. We found Agentic like perfect for that, staying on top of things so we don't spend all day scrolling Twitter and can just get a notification of like, hey, it's time to post this. Has worked really well.
Yeah, this is interesting as well because this whole reply guy strategy, the cold DM strategy that often gets met with a lot of disdain on the TL. But what this really does, it's us humans trying to play to what the algo wants, right? Like, we don't know what it really is. Like, people try to dig it up, but at the end of the day, what keywords do I need to use? How many replies, or what do I need to do on the platform in order for my content to be featured on your For You page? That right there is basically the puzzle, right? For every social media platform, that is the puzzle. So that's exactly why, for both Jordans, both Jordan from PublicAI and Jordan from AITV, the reason why I was so interested in that whole automation tying together with marketing content is because I just have a feeling that even though it works out great in theory, I got a weird gut feeling that the algo might suppress that kind of content. But if there's a way to gamify, kind of like work around it, if we can circumvent those issues, then maybe we're onto something here. But Vitalik, man, you got your hand up. Let's go ahead and pass over the mic over to you. Go for it, brother.
Yeah, I can say that like we did particularly the same as Jordan. Like, as we are a pretty big company, like we have 150 developers, and we work both with startups and enterprises. When you work with startups, it's very important, like time to market. And as we work and support like 30, 40 startups per year, we have to ramp up project by project. We did internal LLM, where like our tech lead can just by the few commands ramp up the project. Also, he controls the policies through the cursor of the usage of the Cloud code by our developers, because what we saw through the years of using LLMs in development, that is decreased significantly security of the code. So it's good for prototyping, but for the general development, it's very risky to do like everything as it was like before LLM get in our development lives. And we started to focus more on the building the proper architecture, proper security models, proper QA, and decrease time of the development by the increasing time of the security research. But I can say it's like what from the save money, but the question was also what saved a lot of time. And I can tell that I was like significantly happy with ecosystem which Google built with Pixel phones, because now like this year with the new models of the Samsung, we have like the ecosystems of the Gemini connected to the calendars, connected to your files, etc. In more than like one mobile phone. But 1.5 year ago, the only possibility to use this ecosystem, it was to buy Pixel. I'm the big Pixel fan, and like I like to control everything through the voice command and be sure that everything is encrypted, because they provided the new security layer for the working with your files. And like I was shocked when like I asked like to find one sentence in documents which I had like thousands in my Google Drive, and it found for me. But also it's really helpful with day-to-day job.
Yeah, sifting through long documents with like 1,000 or 10,000 words, it really is a time saver. I think that's the general MO, right? Like AI can be great, and if we over depend on it, then humans start to get complacent. So that has always kind of been like the lingering mind at the back of our thoughts. It's to like utilize AI, understand how it works, of course, but don't overly depend on it to the point where human existence becomes superfluous, right? But entering into the last segment of today's show, and we'll do the same thing. We'll do it in reverse order. So Vitalik, brother, while I have you here, I would love to have you lead this section, but let's talk about some of these AI tools that absolutely still suck, but people are pretending not to see, or maybe people are pretending to say this is bullish, this is amazing, this is the tool we need in the future. Do you think there's any tools that falls under this umbrella, Vitalik, that immediately comes to mind?
I can tell like not for today, but like 2 months ago. It was Amazon Cairo, 100%. Like everybody was bullish about the automation of the Amazon development, etc. But after it deleted their own environment, and we was almost 1 day without Amazon, it clearly showed that it sucks. So I think like the all tools which are around the automation of the infrastructure now like are very hyped still. There are a lot of investments in this space, but still I think it's overhyped, and we will not use these tools for the next like 2-3 years at least, because they are not understanding the business value of the sustainability of the projects. And like one fuck up which can do your DevOps would be checked it 2-3 times by the like other team members. But if it's AI, even like agents like OpenClaw, like the security director deleted own messages in Gmail for 2 years, it shows that the security part of the AI tools are not ready, and everything which are security reasonable must be checked by the human. So full automation AI systems for me looks like the hype team, but not ready for the market.
Oh man, that's terrible. I didn't know that was the reason behind it. Jeez. Well, clearly Jeff Bezos needs to chill the heck out from Prometheus and tend to the fire at Amazon HQ, because damn, that's a bad mistake, man. PublicAI Jordan, let me talk to you for a second. What AI tools do you think still absolutely suck? And what are the things that people are pretending not to see?
For us, as we've been doing the vibe coding and trying to be more productive there, we definitely see some shortcomings. One of the things that we were playing around with recently was voice agents. Since we have like people coming to our website and doing recording, we wanted to do kind of a harness for allowing people to show up and record multi-turn conversations within AI as the conversational partner. And well, voice agents are a huge use case for AI, and we're seeing a lot of adoption outside of technology industries of that. It's still pretty rough, and you go into the details of it, and the vision is there, like, oh, in the future we'll be able to just like talk to an agent and it'll go and build us software, custom software, and anything else we want to do. And then you get into the details of like what it takes to even do just multi-turn conversation without tool calling, even just to have a regular conversation. And you run into things like latency, interruptions, like how it handles interjections, things like that. So while the voice interfaces have come a long way since Alexa and all of those were kind of the state of the art, we're still not to the point where it's like, it's not going to replace the human still as far as being able to have, like a true conversation partner. Things are still falling flat there. So that's one where we've been experimenting and still looking for solutions. And have been talking to the industry greats on solutions for this, like, working with PipeCat on how we can, do more testing around the systems that we're implementing for these things specifically. But yeah, that's some place where, you know, in some ways it's good for us since we're collecting voice data and selling it to Frontier Labs to help them improve their speech to text systems and being able to do automatic speech recognition, things like that. For us, it's good. There's still a gap because we've got data to sell to help improve that. But yeah, really looking forward to seeing this nailed, especially across lots of different languages around the world. Yep. So that's one that I would point out, and I'll leave it at that. Thanks.
I gotcha. You know, I know you said you and your team are still looking for solutions, Jordan, but let's say you had an unreasonable amount of resources, right? Let's say resources was no issue. In that scenario, what would you say can make voice activation agents better? You have every resource in the world to dish this out. What would be the things that you would personally change if that were the case?
Oh, easy. I would go heavy into the speech to speech models. So right now, when you do a conversation with an AI, like there's several layers that cascade to get anything done. Like I mentioned, the speech to text. So first you have to understand what somebody says. Then you have to understand their intent if they meant to like call a tool like book an appointment or get information about a product or whatever the thing is that somebody's trying to do. And then after that information synthesis happens or the tool is called, then you got to come back, generate the text that the user is going to get, and then synthesize the voice and then play it. And round trip, that winds up taking, you know, a while. Like it can be measured in milliseconds, but it often winds up being in seconds. And that just, it feels awkward to somebody that's trying to talk naturally as a person and would expect another person to respond to them, with. So all of those steps can be compressed with a speech-to-speech model where rather than going from speech to text to tool to text to speech, you can just do speech to speech. And a lot of research is being done on these models. The current kind of like problem with them is that they hallucinate more than the text to text models do, or, you know, having text in the loop. And the advantage is that they have really low latency. The disadvantage is they're hallucinating. But I think with enough training and research could get them to the point where they have similar performance as like the full pipelines. If we'll get there this year, I don't think so. It takes a lot of resources. Like we already know that training text models is incredibly resource intensive. Audio data is much denser than text data. So when you say unlimited resources, that makes me excited because it's going to take a lot of resources to train these models. And then also like different kinds of large models that are interesting are things like the world models, which are being used for robotics and other kinds of simulations and deeper understanding. I think that the researchers that are looking at these things are seeing the limitations of large language models and looking at different approaches that could be used to overcome some of these like edge cases where we're almost there, but not quite there. And it's going to take a different approach to get us there.
This is some very intriguing information we're getting. Speech to speech models. It actually makes a lot of sense because now that I'm thinking and I'm saying this out loud, like if we text it one thing, that's one communication channel, right? But if we say it, does the AI sense our tone? And by sensing our tone, does that actually lead into unintended results, aka hallucinations? There's a lot of things worth digging here, but you just gave me PTSD, bro. You gave me PTSD to the days where I'm sitting here yelling customer service into my phone only for the AI to give me like a bunch of, hallucinated responses. I suppose that's what that is. But anyway, I will save that. I'll save my horrors for this weekend, my friend. But in the meantime, Jordan from AITV, man, let's bring this one back home to you. What do you think about this? What do current AI tools still suck at that people are pretending not to see?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm still a firm believer that completely generalist AI is oftentimes a bit of a letdown. So I really love that people are getting so into working with AI agents for lots of different things, with like the rise in popularity in OpenClaw, for example. First we had like Cursor and then Claude and then OpenClaw. And so people are starting to work with AI agents more and more and more to do more and more interesting things. And I love the concept of agents being able to modify themselves and create themselves. But from my personal experience, having a completely generalist agent oftentimes makes it something that is not very good at a lot of things, right? Like it's very, very mediocre at a lot of different things. And so I think that there's going to be kind of like a continual progression where you're going to have maybe like a generalist root agent and then more and more specialized sub agents. A lot of people are already building this way right now, but I think that that's just something that not a lot of people are fully understanding, where you can't possibly have a single agent that's really good at everything. So being able to get really tailored and really detailed. And I think that there's going to continue to be more distribution around how people can just quickly adopt the practices of others. So we've already seen the rise of like the skills marketplace, and I think that's super interesting, and continuing to kind of go in that direction where it's like bundles of skills and other root kind of system prompts for being able to just kind of copy someone's whole agent setup. I think that things are going to move farther in that direction. So I think that that's currently a thing that not a lot of people are fully grasping.
Yeah, and it is the unfortunate starting place for first timers, right? After all, we're going to use the stuff that's free and we're going to use the stuff that's easily accessible and what our friends are telling us. But at the end of the day, I do agree, Jordan, generalist, like just AI models that are there that are intended to catch all. It's basically it's that thing that we say always, right? They're the crap of all trades, master of none. And no, that was not a mispronunciation. But that being said, brother, we're talking about money. We're talking about spending on stuff. If you are going to pay for any AI tool, what are some functions it must have?
Yeah, for me, it's, well, I mean, it depends to say an AI tool because there's many different use cases. I would say that in terms of paying for something for development, it needs to be able to run locally and be customizable. And so I think that that's really where Claude has excelled at, where you've been able to see a lot of different people modifying their .claude folders at like a specific folder that it's operating within. So a ton of customizability there. And then I think that in terms of I don't know, like one of the other big uses of AI that we at AITV like focus on is voice generation. And one of the frustrations I've had with I'm not going to name names, but like some voice providers is that they don't have a fully feature-rich API, and they have only some functionalities available through the API, and then others are kind of locked inside of their application. And so I think that is frustrating when there are these SaaS products, but they don't make a full set of their services available through the API so that you can build on top of it. I think that that's kind of like a dying methodology because, you know, everybody is becoming vibe coders. Everybody is writing custom software and custom things. And so it's like the more and more you allow your system to be used in other people's work, to be able to be vibe coded on top of, the more winning you're going to have. So, the more customers you're going to have. So I think that, yeah, that's, I guess that, you know, a summary of two key highlights of things that I look for in, various different AI products.
I hear you, man. Nothing frustrates me more when I use a tool that I sort of like for the first 10 minutes and then I immediately get hit with a paywall, gating the vibe coding segment or the customizable options. That's just, it feels like we're being baited and switched, right? But to end off today's show, brother, you know, we kind of alluded to at the start of the space that we were going to give you guys some take home tips and advice, especially when it comes to, for our beginners that are looking for tools that are free and usable. So, for those that are newly coming into the AI space, Jordan, before they subscribe for any tool, what is a free resource that you would recommend that they use first?
Yeah. So, I mean, Google has always been free and it's continuing to be free. You know, although it is, selling your data, it's a good place to start. And it's also AI enabled these days. And so being able to get there and ask some, you know, very rudimentary questions and get some answers. Next, I would just find a like AI chat application that you'd like to use. Checking out, you know, Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and any of the like, Gemini, like, and going from there. And the key thing to think about when getting into using AI, is really, like, I think that a lot of us have preconceived, like mental boundaries as far as like what we feel like we can type into the search box, like what we feel like we should say, and really kind of reworking your thinking and asking questions that you may not otherwise type into a computer, right? Instead of searching very specific things that you know about, instead ask the root question of like, hey, I want to learn more about this thing, or find me more, you know, more sources of information about this, or explain this to me like I'm 5, right? Like trying to treat it as like a hyper intelligent oracle, that can do work for you. And this can affect every aspect of your life. And, I think that for me over the past year and a half, 2 years has been the biggest mental shift, is asking myself, you know, why don't I leverage AI more for this specific thing, right?
I find myself asking that question every single day, my friend. That's a lot of solid advice, man. You know, I'm going to bastardize this, but to quickly sum up what Jordan said. First of all, if you haven't already, get your feet wet with Google, get your feet wet with OpenAI, something that is free. And then once you actually get to the point of needing to unlock additional features, then look into the AI voice agents that best suits your needs, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's OpenClaw or something else, whether it's Gemini. Feel free to play around with it until you find one that matches you. But then at the end of the day, I think the take home point is to truly get better at what we do as humans. Sure, we might be using Google now, and we may be using OpenAI tomorrow, but that skill set that you've learned, that you've gotten from playing around with prompting, that sticks with you forever. Before we wrap things up, Vitalik, brother, you got your hand up. Let me go ahead and pass it over to you, and then we'll swing it back to Jordan for some closing thoughts.
Yeah, I just want to add, like, if you're starting to look into using like LLMs in your daily work or for like some education yourself, etc., just start from the Anthropic's prompt engineering guide. Like they built the best guidance, which like even like my grandma can pass and understand how it works. And it will help to decrease the token spending on the free models. And also it will help you to get the more proper answer, more like you want to see it.
Thank you, Vitalik. Man, so if I don't master Anthropic, then I guess I'm not talking to my grandmother for a while. This is good. This is adding to my weekend to-do list. Thank you, Vitalik. But on that note, let's bring it back to my man Jordan. Brother, first of all, talk us through your closing thoughts for today's show. And secondly, what are some of the updates coming at AITV that all of us need to be paying more attention to?
Yeah, so this has been a really fun one. I really appreciate all of the perspectives that have been brought here. It feels like week over week we're continuing to find less and less bears when it comes to talking about the potential use cases of AI, and it's more and more people talking about, these things have worked, and I'm trying to find out new ways to get this other thing to work, right? Like, it's a resounding feeling of this is all possible, which is exciting. And so, as far as like what the outlook looks like for the coming weeks for AITV, I had mentioned a few things at the beginning, and I'll just quickly reiterate those. So, we're still in early access, but we're about to open it up completely public, and so anybody can come and launch their own channel on AITV. We're making it extremely simple, where you can do this from just a single prompt. You can say, hey, I want a banana that, spends too much time hanging out in the trees. And it'll generate, a full background for you, an animated background. It'll have a character there, a full identity. And you can go ahead and test it out and go live with it in under a minute. And so we're trying to make the onboarding and creation experience as simple as possible, so that a lot of people can start to get their feet wet with this new medium of using agents to be able to create content. And in addition to that, we're making it such that all of the experts, all of the agent builders, all the vibe coders can actually bring their agents to the table. So we're opening up the API. We're making it such that you can take your OpenClaw, you can run an AITV channel, you could broadcast it to Twitch, you could broadcast it to YouTube, wherever you want, and you can just bring your agent and we'll handle the rest. So it's a really simple setup experience. So, that's really exciting. And then, also, Ice and I have a, podcast happening next week. And so next week, Friday, be sure to tune in. We're going to be showing all this stuff live on the live stream. So, be sure to tune in. We're going to walk through it. It's going to be a fun time. And, if you haven't seen what AITV is capable of, you can just go to the website right now and check it out, aitv.gg, or tune in next Friday and we'll be walking through it all with the audience. So bring all your questions. So thank you so much to everyone who came. Thank you to Ice for hosting another banger. And happy Friday. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Happy Friday indeed. And man, am I looking forward to what is happening next Friday, because all those things that Jordan just told you guys about how you guys can launch your own AITV agent with just a single prompt, we're going to showcase exactly what that looks like next week. All right. But of course, just like we learned today, starting with a single prompt, that is of course the starting point. Diving deeper into that rabbit hole, customizing your agent, customizing your background, changing their personality. That is where the pros are playing at. But guys, that being said, this will mark the end of our show for today. Panelists, thank you guys so much for joining us in today's discussion. And audience members, thank you guys for tuning in and dropping out those likes, comments, and retweets. We really do appreciate all the love and support. One last time, make sure you guys are following the AITV House account, and remember to have those notifications for next week turned on, because Jordan and I are about to take the rabbit hole deep dive and showcasing what that studio is looking like. But until then, this is going to be Ice and Jordan signing off, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.